Would I carry this knife into combat? That is a very interesting question. It depends on my philosophy of use, my size and weight constraints. Will it be an LBE knife clipped on? I'll get back to that before I end the KRV. But I do like this knife. Here's my tabletop review, Nut and Fancy style, on the CRKT Goken. I'll talk about my pronunciation. Trust me. I like the knife. I liked it as soon as I held it in hand. It will be the first, I think, of its type, at least a folding variety in the CRKT lineup that I have reviewed. I might be forgetting one because I have reviewed a lot of knives. We're in year 14, by the way. But I think this is it. And I have had requests to review knives like this in the CRKT lineup. I've talked to some of you guys in message, giving you my opinions because I didn't have a tabletop review yet. But here we go. You're going to get my thoughts on the CRKT Goken. And would it be a good LBE folding knife for a soldier, for instance, doing house-to-house stuff, CQB stuff? That's kind of where I'm looking at philosophy of use for this tabletop review. Okay, but first things first. Here, I got to get this out of the way because it's kind of funny, kind of annoying too. I have reviewed Japanese ancestry blades before. That's just what I'm going to call them in this review. I think you know what I mean. Where they get their inspiration from Japanese blade craft. Whether it's a sword, a short sword, a katana, tanto variety, whatever. This blade is definitely like this. And so are some others in the CRKT lineup, and I will mention them. When I do this, it's kind of like the blade has some baggage when it comes to tabletop. And I learned this through past reviews, some other knives I reviewed, definitely the swords I reviewed, the katanas. My eyes were a little bit opened, a lot opened, on some individuals online that are, let's say, and I'll be kind here, passionate about such things. And they want you to have their same passion. Okay, and are they true experts? Who knows? Did they just open up a tab while they're browsing and just read up on it and then they act like experts? I don't know, but that does happen a lot. That happens a lot. And so they read up a couple paragraphs and they go and comment like they're some expert. It happens all the time. I don't know. I'm just going to review the damn knife. Okay? Is that okay? Here comes a rant, guys. Brace yourselves. Hey, Nut and Fancy, I love your rants. Bring it. Thank you. Okay, I'm just going to review the damn knife, okay? If you're clicking on this video and you want me to bow down at the altar of Japanese cutlery and swordcraft, you can forget it. Yeah, forget it. That's not what this tabletop review is going to be about. Don't misunderstand, I do like it. I really do. I think it produces and has produced some amazing blades, some amazing swords. I've been very honest about that. They do attract me. What I'm talking about is I'm not going to go and become an expert on Japanese cutlery for this tabletop review. And here's why. I just don't care. There's a rant right there. So I'm probably going to mispronounce some names. And again, I just don't care. You know, so if you're looking for that and you want me to do a tie-in, a historical tie-in of this blade, and talk about its martial blade craft history and the Osuraku Zakuri Tanto blades, there I probably mispronounced that. Again, I don't care. Wrong video, bro. Just click on another one. I'm sure there's another review on YouTube where a guy's talking about all that and acting like the expert and passionate and he studied up on all the terms. That's not this tabletop. I'm just going to review the knife. Is that okay? Yeah, I'm not going to bow down at the altar and worship Japanese cutlery because I just don't give a shit. Okay, and again, I don't mean that the wrong way. I'm just saying I don't study it. I don't, yeah, I get too many other things that I have to, use my mind for. More meaningful. Here we go with the real tabletop review. Hey, Nut and Fancy, keep ranting. I like that. It's pretty funny. All right, I'll probably circle back to that. Rant a little bit, but again, it's not gratuitous. It's just it plays for this because out come the pronunciation Nazis on, oh, you should say it this way, and here comes the historical guys. You should know the blade and it was used in I just don't care. No one does really, except guys who are truly into that. But okay, if you are, go ahead. Okay, enough of that. I'm sorry for the rant. Designed by James Williams, I guess. I don't know the guy. Did I meet him one time at a show? I don't remember. But this is a Marshall blade craft. It's designed, I will say that it's designed for fighting. So this is a fighting knife. I guess Williams is a martial artist of some renown, and I like his work. I do. There have been some others in the lineup at CRKT that I have held through the years. This blade style is not new in their lineup. And I don't know, they just didn't move me, probably because their choice of handle materials. And I think one of those is a Hissatsu. Again, am I saying that right? Probably, maybe not, don't care. It's larger than this one at 3.875 inches. It's an AUS 8, and I think it has slick nylon scales. I have looked and handled that one, and I just couldn't get into it. And here we go into philosophy, circling back to that intro. So if you're going to employ a knife as a military sheepdog, or maybe you're a contractor, maybe you're a law enforcement guy, you absolutely want good traction. Okay, that is not even debatable with anyone who knows knives, because you don't want to deploy a knife and then lose traction on it, especially if your hands are wet, if they're covering some other fluid. You just don't know. You want high traction. You're going to get it with this, and to discuss this philosophy of use, we have to look at the handle, and CRKT's choice, maybe Williams had some say in it, of their high traction G10 here, and I actually like it a lot. We've seen it many times on tabletop here, but this is high traction, or maybe medium to high traction G10. So I have gloves on. I always hide my short fingernails because they're always breaking off. That's generally why I wear gloves. Not to be cool, but so you guys don't have to fixate on my fingernails. You're welcome. Yes, you're welcome. But even with gloves, it's high traction. And I think it's enough to be put into that very serious philosophy of use, emergency defensive tool. That's what a tactical blade is. When we talk about tactical blades, I've said that for years and years and years here in TMP. It's an emergency defensive tool for the good guys. And I think this would absolutely serve its purpose. Now, for me, is it perfect in its design? Well, we go into maybe that Japanese ancestry and being true to the lines and, you know, the kind of the form of that style of blade. And I think CRKT and Williams was after that, right? And they wanted to have that appearance of, here comes another mispronounced name, Osaraku Zakuri Tanto blade. I think that's the name of this tanto. So it comes way back. So this is not a standard tanto. It comes way back Japanese style, I think. Again, I'm not going to become the expert on that. By the way, I do love the blade. We'll come back to it, but I love the blade. Well, design-wise, they followed those lines. For me, I always want something topside, maybe a ramp up here, but that would ruin the lines of this knife, and it would probably, I don't know, irritate some guys that are into this style of blade. So I can understand why they didn't do it. So we don't have like a flared up thumb ramp here that we can get ultimate traction on, but we do have a choil right here. It kind of envelops the hand a little bit. We do have jimping right here cut into the G10. It is functional. And notice it's in the handle and not the blade itself. So this is a little bit different, but it works. And they cut this really sharp. So between the medium-high traction G10, you have a lock-on here with your thumb up top side, at least if you're holding it this way. And then you have a protective choil down here. You have really good traction. My big beef with others in the lineup, in the CRKT line, and I've talked about some others in tabletop through the years, I don't know which one, but I said it just doesn't have any traction. So if you do a plunge cut with it, you could actually slip forward and cut your own fingers. That's the big deal. Especially if you miss your target and you hit something hard like a wall, a concrete wall, or heaven forbid, a car door or something like that. And then as you're fighting for your life, I hope you never have to. But if it happened, then sliding forward would make a bad situation way worse. So for me to say a tactical blade, this is just me, my mileage, a tactical blade is awesome, it's got to have high traction. And lately, a lot of the knives I've been reviewing, I don't even say they're tactical. I just like their traction or whatever, their design elements are so poor for that philosophy of use, forget it. This one though, legit. EDC knife, absolutely. So is the Goken a perfect EDC knife? Do you want the honest answer? Yes, always, Nutton. Give me the honest answer. No, it is not. It's a fighting knife, bro. So in EDC tasks, it's going to have some compromises. Food preparation, perhaps some box opening. It's got a very delicate but sharp tip designed for penetration. That's what this, let me try it again. Asuraku Zakuri Tanto blade is designed for, right? Maximum penetration. And I'm sure it will excel at that task. You know, is it a perfect all-around utility knife? Maybe it is. I haven't really tried it in that. I'm just looking at its blade shape, and I have used some others that are kind of like it. But it's not a super thin knife. I don't like that. 3.2 millimeters in thickness. That's too thick for an EDC blade. I want something thin, something that can slice, prepare food, open packages, just daily tasks, strip wire. This can do all that, don't get me wrong, but I would probably reach for another knife, is all I'm saying. I would get a different blade for those type of tasks. Now, if you're new to the show, welcome, subscribe, join my TMP Patreon, please. It's the only reason I'm still putting out videos. Love my Patreon guys. They're awesome. You will know that I carry layers of knives. Okay, if you look at HPAC and LPAC EDC updates some months ago, it was like in 2019, I show all that stuff, and I've done it consistently. So I carry a smaller blade for EDC. So today it will be GASP, a Benchmade Mini Griptilian. I purchased this long time ago, and I love it. I've got those zip ties in it so I can auto deploy it from pocket. I love this knife. This is my EDC blade. Has been for several days. Makes me happy. Really happy. I love it. It's great. And then I have a Mannix Lightweight. Eric Design Mannix Lightweight in S110. Yeah, I've got those goofy zip ties on it. I don't freaking care. Again, I don't care. I like, deploying the knives from pocket, and I'll put something on those to do it. Which, by the way, is a downside for the Goken in the EDC roll. And I'm just telling you, my approach right now is I need to just whip it out of pocket, the knife, and have it auto deploy, and then I'm good to go. This is my tactical blade. This is my EDC blade. And yes, I do have others in my system, like I said. But for me to just carry a CRKT Goken and say, hey, this is my one and only knife, I wouldn't do it. Again, thickness, blade shape has something to do with it. It's not flat ground. It's about a mid-grind coming up here. And again, for its purpose, it's a very excellent grind. Penetration knife, super sharp fighting blade, yes. But for an EDC knife, there are some compromises. Every knife is going to have some quirks. Every knife is going to have compromises. But for me, no. Another compromise, I think, some people may look at this, when we talk about the Goken at least, is that it's using 4116 German Krupp steel, which is a pretty soft stainless steel. I have talked about it for many years. I mean, a lot of cold steel blades use it. Victorinox main blades, I believe, are made of 4116 steel. And strangely, a lot in the CRKT lineup lately has been using it, and I think they have been getting some criticism, so I suspect they're going to abandon it. I don't know if they just got it for a cheap price. It's not my favorite steel. I don't think it's yours either. It is adequate. It can get the job done, especially in the role of a tactical blade, which is an emergency defensive tool. Are you really going to use it that much? No, I'm not. Does it really matter how good the steel is in that role? No, it doesn't. And I've always made the point, if they can make shivs in prison made out of a melted toothbrush, then a freaking 4116 will be just fine. Will be just fine. But this will get back to my EDC comment too, and that is that the best choice for high use EDC blade? And the answer is absolutely not. These days I want S30, S90, S110 if I can get it, CPM 154. If I do really heavy cutting, I'm going to break out my Sheffield plastic utility knife, and I'll do my cardboard cutting for that, just to save me time in the sharpener. Philosophy of use, collectible? No. Soldier knife? Yeah, it would be a good soldier knife to clip to the LB. Again, I'll circle back to that and tell you if I would add it. It's amongst some really excellent competition. If you go into my playlists, in past videos, you'll see me talking about the soldier knife application, philosophy of use. Enough on all that. So we did look at the blade shape already. Here's a closer look. It is tapered. It is awfully thick. It's awfully thick. I think the idea behind it, and again, I could be completely off, is to have a strong blade. Because if it's going to be a thrusting blade, it's a fighting knife. You don't want it breaking off. Duh. That's what it's for. And so and also lends a little bit more strength to the tip. I wouldn't say it's a delicate tip. It is a tanto tip, but it's a very elongated. Here I go again, taking a shot at it. Osaraku Zakuri Tanto blade. I really love the blade. I actually love this tanto blade, and it's cool. And then it has a really nice transition here. This is a really hard cutting area of the blade in slash cuts, and I think there's a whole philosophy behind that. I'm not going to go into it. Talked about the handle, the high traction. I do like it. It is milled very nicely. No real hot spots on this end. Take apart construction. I love how it has no liners. Oh, that's a good choice. Really good choice. It would look a lot better in some other different colors. Maybe flat dark earth, olive drab. Blue would be really cool. If you had a blue handle and a black blade, oh man, the CRKT Goken would pop. And now we're kind of getting into a second cool thing, right? But we're just looking at a basic black, and so to me this knife is all about first cool. Now it has a takedown construction, field strip construction, just like we saw on the home front, the High Vast and some others in the CRKT lineup. I do like it. It works fine. Do I perceive a need to take apart this knife that's not going to be used for hunting? No. It's going to add some weight too. Again, the weight on the Goken is 4.2 ounces. No, it's not too heavy. It's fine, but I'm saying if they didn't have the field strip, this thing would be like 3.5. It's cool. There's your lockup. It's a captured liner lock. That's what I always call it. No steel liners. The timing on this is kind of late. It's a little bit interesting. Look at that. So this is new, has not been hard used. I haven't batoned with it. And I don't know, it's just a little bit of a late lockup there. Some people complain that it's hard to disengage. I'm not going to say it's totally easy to disengage, but I'm not going to say it's hard either. I've seen a lot worse. So I'm really not going to agree with that criticism on the Goken so much. Let's look at the flipper tab. It's a flipper design. I actually like it. No hot spots, not too high, not too shallow. There's no thumb stud. It buries in the blade. There's your centering. Being a take-apart knife, it doesn't have IKBS. That is roller bearings there for the deployment. So I don't think it comes out super, super fast, but it's good enough. It's good enough. Lockup is tight. Retention, really nice. And that takes us to the clip. Really excellent. So we do have some screws protruding into the clip space. Not a big deal. It's maybe not sticking out too far for tactical pants, so you might have a little bit of an issue here, but it's a deep carry pocket clip. I'm really happy to see a lot of the manufacturers come out with this. I have been ranting about it and advocating deep carry clips forever in the knife show here. It's so cool to see them finally do it. Now we do have medium to high traction G10 under here, so it's going to be hard to get in and out of your pants pocket. You might contemplate doing a JB Weld mod. Just type in YouTube, nutnfancy, JB Weld, and you'll see me modding out. I think it was a Cold Steel Recon and some others, and I show you how you do it. And yes, I still think that is the best way to do it. It looks great when you tape it off, paint it black. I would do it to the Goken if I had one. I really would. Competitive options on this. What would I buy versus this knife? Well, if we're going to stick to this type of knife, kind of like the Japanese martial knife, the Hissatsu, if I'm saying it right, don't really care. Again, it has slick nylon scales. It's a little bit bigger, 3.9 inch blade. It's an AUS 8 steel. I would probably slightly prefer AUS 8 over 4116, but again, that's minor. I think the Hissatsu has that auto liner safety lock, which I totally hate, and it's assisted opening. This is a total manual knife here. But you might look at that, hold it, and see if you like it. You may love it. How about the Shizuku Noken? Again, probably mispronouncing it. That's in the CRKT lineup. 3.6 inch blade, frame lock, AUS 8, 4.2 ounces, and it does also have the locks on it. LAWKS, that stupid locking mechanism, which I detest, always have. How about the here we go, Otonashi Noa Ken? I don't even know. I don't know. This is the best one I've seen. So there's your answer. In the CRKT lineup, this is the best one I've seen. And let's go back to that question. Would I go to war with this knife? Yes, I would. I wouldn't mind this being in my LB at all. I would probably see if there's a way I could attach a lanyard to this. In the back, you can see there's no lanyard hole because it is field strippable with that technology that CRKT pioneered. Go watch my home front review. I'm not going to take this apart for time, but I show you that. And it is cool, but the downside is there's no big lanyard hole. I would like a lanyard hole on this for that application. But yeah, I would put this in an LBE mag pouch. Are there others that I would prefer over it? Honestly, probably yes. Probably. Ones that have maybe that thumb ramp I was talking about, even better traction than this. And honestly, I would probably, in that specific philosophy of use, soldier blade, I would probably lean more towards a fixed blade. There I don't have to deploy a blade at all. I just jam it out, and there it is. Go watch, by the way, Tactically Squared Away update in, I believe, this year, 2020. And I talked about putting a fixed blade knife on your LBE. Is it a good choice, bad choice? I'll give you some philosophy on that. Think it through. But yeah, it's definitely purchasable. I like this knife. But putting this in as kind of an all-arounder, opening up MREs, doing soldier work, the stuff you usually use blades for realistically, I don't know. I'd probably prefer something like this over that. To be totally honest. I mean, look at how thin that blade is. I mean, look, flat ground, dude. What's not to like? That's a really good steel, too, on this particular version, S110. There you go. Nothing fancy. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening to my rants, by the way. More knife reviews coming your way. By the way, this is a scandium-framed, old-school Smith & Wesson 1911. As you can see, SW 1911 PD. Reviewed, I think, in 2010 here in the project. Over and out.